So I'm often asked, how much does closing costs cost for buyers here in South Louisiana? And that's a good question. But first, let's start with what closing cost is. Hi, I'm Richard Spears, owner and founder of Prime Properties, and this video is all about closing costs for buyers when buying a home. So let's start. First, closing costs is the fees associated with buying a home. Those fees entail uh, fees to your mortgage lender, the person that's actually going to get you the money. That's going to be fees you're going to pay to a title attorney. That's the person that's going to transfer ownership to you and make sure no one owns that property but you. And that's also going to be what's called your prepaid taxes and insurance, because mortgage companies don't trust you to pay your own taxes and insurance. They actually set up what's called an escrow account. And every month, when you make a monthly payment, part of that monthly payment is going to go towards the escrow account. So at the end of the year, they can pay your taxes and insurance for you. But in the beginning, they want you to start that escrow account with at least 12 to 13 months of what they call prepaid taxes and insurance. And so all of this combined is what usually makes up your closing costs. And if you want to buy points to help lower your interest rate, that's also situated in your closing costs as well. And we'll discuss that in another video. But all of these fees combined is what makes up your closing costs. Now, keep this in mind. It is common for sellers here in South Louisiana to help buyers with closing costs. But also keep this in mind. It's not an entitlement because sellers also have their own closing costs. They have fees that they have to pay to the title company. They have mortgage cancellation fees. And in most cases, they have compensation fees for realtors. So, and most of the funds for these fees comes from the equity in their home. It comes from the proceeds of their sale. So, in the event that they don't have as much equity, they may not be able to help you as much with your closing costs, which is why it's always a great idea to have some savings just in case you can't get a seller to cover most of your closing costs. Another thing to add, uh, this is all contingent upon the market as well. For an example, if we're in an extreme seller's market similar to COVID when interest rates were low and everyone were buying properties, sellers did not help with closing costs much because they didn't need to. The competition for their homes was high, and so buyers had less leverage, and buyers on average received less closing costs. Versus now in this market, when the average days on market is much higher, buyers are more inclined to actually get closing costs. So when we think about how much closing costs usually runs for buyers here in South Louisiana, that's usually between 3 to 4% of the purchase price. And it just all comes down to the fees that the title company charges, the mortgage lender charges, and how much your insurance on the home is going to be, because taxes is pretty much a fixed thing. So it's going to come down to your taxes, your insurance, and the fees. And I hope this helps.